Welcome to the Haunui Farm Virtual Stallion Parade. My name's Shannon Taylor and I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager here at Haunui, and I'm proud to say 2021 is my 16th year here at the farm. We've had a pretty frustrating time here in the Auckland region with lockdown restrictions, but it's great to be finally able to present to you our two highly credentialed stallions for the 2021 breeding season. Belardo finished the last racing season as New Zealand's champion first season and champion 2-year-old sire, an accolade we're certainly very proud of. From a sire line whose progeny tend to get better with age, we're looking forward to seeing the progress of his first crop, now 3-year-olds, and his new season 2-year-olds on the track over the coming months. One thing we've seen in Belardo's 4 crops to date, on type they've got better and better each season, and we're confident that will ring true in their future racetrack success. Here's Haunui Farm's Managing Director Mark Chitty with more on Belardo.
Here we go again, 2021, COVID lockdown, level 3 for Haunui Farm here in Auckland. But the breeding season continues and we're delighted to offer New Zealand breeders 2 outstanding stallion prospects, Belardo and Ribchester. Belardo, a dual Group 1 winner at 2, winning the Dewhurst, crowning him champion 2-year-old, and as a 4-year-old going on and winning the Group 1 Lockinge at Newbury and running second in the Queen Anne. Belardo returns to Haunui for his 5th breeding season, off the back of recently being crowned champion 2-year-old first season sire here in New Zealand. Avanalo, Yearboy and Fond Soleil were group performing 2-year-olds for our son of Lope de Vega. Belardo has been well received by breeders over the last 4 years, having served 100 mares in each of his first 4 seasons at stud. And this last Karaka sales, his top price lot was $380,000 and he averaged $110,000 with his Book 1 yearlings. He's been well supported by many breeders, which we are internally grateful for. He comes in his 5th season, which makes it a difficult time. His 3-year-olds are hitting the tracks. He's been represented by Belardo Boy recently, winning his debut 3-year-old race, and Yearboy running second in the Wanganui Guineas, a fast finishing second, and touted by Alan Sharrock as a potential Derby prospect. Obviously it's all before him. The yearlings that we have to take to Karaka 2022 are probably, in our minds, the best yearlings that we have bred by Belardo. And that goes to the fact that we have recognised the style of mare that he requires. He needs a good 15-3, 16-hand mare, quite a good looking mare. Although he's a good-headed, good-looking horse himself, he will leave some plainer types, as we have seen through the Lope de Vega and Sharmadale sire lines. However, that sire line is a fantastic sire line, as we all know. They get better with age, and sires of multiple Group 1 colts and fillies. We can only hope that Belardo will continue on in that fashion. He's a very fertile stallion. In fact, he's a stallion that we do use to get some less fertile mares in foal and get them cracking. He allows you to tidy up a mare. Mares that are a little offset or back at the knee, are a little plain themselves, a little flat-footed, do suit this horse particularly well. He also seems to be garnering an affinity with Ifrage mares, which represents the Gone West Mr. Prospector sire line. So anyone with those styles of mares should seriously consider Belardo in 2021. The advertised fee is $10,000 plus GST, obviously live foal guarantee, and he's limited to 100 mares. We appreciate there's a lot of competition in the marketplace at that service fee level, but given the progeny are with some of New Zealand's very good trainers, with Tiakau, with Jamie Richards, with Stephen Marsh, with Lisa Laddo, with Stephen McKee. There are some really nice horses, Roger James, Alan Sharrock. There's some very nice horses out there, hopefully peddling their wares in the next 2021-22 racing season. I'd like you to have a nice look at the 4 yearlings that we're presenting here just to show the type that's going forward to Karaka 2022. And I'm sure breeding off the back of those horses this year, these horses will be 3-year-olds when you may be taking your Belardo to the marketplace. I wish you all the very best for your breeding season and racing season, and if you're still undecided on where your mare might go in 2021, consider Belardo.
Ribchester is standing his 4th season at stud in the Southern Hemisphere, his 2nd season here with us at Haunui. As I said last year, I was so excited when Dali agreed that we could have Ribchester replace his site on the Haunui Farm Stallion roster. With limited opportunity to see progeny from his first 2 crops, what I did see gave me plenty of confidence, and that has only grown with the 11 foals we have had born by Ribchester so far at Haunui this season. I'll now hand over to Mark to talk a bit more about Ribchester and why we're so excited about his future prospects.
March 2020 was a difficult time. We were in COVID and we got the call from Dali to say that if Raj was not returning to Haunui, his days of shuttling were over. If Raj had been a great servant to Haunui and the many breeders that have bred to him over that 12-year period. But there's no more able replacement than Ribchester, his 4-time Group 1 winning son, who came to us in the spring of 2020. A fabulous racehorse. He won the Group 2 Mill Reef as a 2-year-old and went on to win 4 Group 1s as a 3 and 4-year-old, to subsequently be crowned champion miler as a 3 and a 4-year-old in Europe. And hence he retired with a time form rating of 129. He's not as big as his sire. He's a good 16 hands. He's a little bit plainer in the head. Ifraj certainly had that Araby aristocratic head, but he's probably a lot stronger through the hind quarter, a little bit lower set in his hocks. And although we couldn't say this last year, now with in excess of a dozen foals on the ground, this horse is really typing his foals. They are good, strong, athletic individuals out of a variety of mares. Again, a touch plain in the head some, but very good coloured horses with great bone, great disposition, and look to have lovely temperaments to go with it. He served 78 mares in his first season here at Haunui, and unfortunately with the COVID lockdown, we didn't get a lot of the early foaling mares that we have this year. This year we've got 85 mares booked to him so far, and once again he is limited to 100 mares, just like Belardo. He's standing at $15,000 plus GST, which I think is very fair value given the impact that we all know that Ifraj has had on the Australasian and European breeding scene. Ifraj again will have another fantastic 12 to 18 months with his young racehorses, and no better way to capitalise with Al Mansour being full, his grandson, Turn Me Loose in the same year crop as Ribchester, as his only other son standing here in New Zealand. At Haunui we've sent some very nice mares to him, and amongst that 78 mares are some well-credentialed black type mares. Recognising that the horse is standing his 4th season in the Southern Hemisphere this season and is 2nd at Haunui Farm. Ribchester has sold exceptionally well in Europe, and last year, or in 2021 at Karaka, we were lucky enough to sell a lovely colt out of Shalaka. We went to Chris Waller for $230,000 to the Go Racing team, and another filly out of the Wentwood Grange draft sold for $120,000. So as you can see, as I always believe, selling 6-figure yearlings is very good business here in New Zealand, given the service fee levels and the costs that go forward to produce yearlings. Ribchester has started very well with his 2-year-olds in Europe. He's had 12 winners, and 50% of his 2-year-olds that have gone to the races have been won or been placed. Most people considered that he would have autumn 2-year-olds that would go on and perform as 3 and 4-year-olds, just like Ifraj has done. And given what we have seen, he's got a nice horse called Flaming Rib that's won his last 3 starts, a very nice filly in in France called Shalaker, who's won and run second to a horse by Wootton Bassett, who's gone on to become a stakes winner. So it's all before him. And what's very similar is his statistics of colts and fillies versus performance is very similar. Just like Ifraj, very little sex bias. Obviously, challenging year being fourth year, but I think that given Ifraj's domination and influence both in the stallion ranks and as broodmares, as a broodmare side going forward, I think breeders, again, if you are undecided on your mare, give Ribchester a look. He's a stallion that will suit a lot of the mares that Ifraj liked, mares with a little bit of Danehill blood, mares with the Citricium, Savabeel blood in them will certainly be well matched with him going forward. We have shown you today some of the foals that we have here on the farm, and as you can see, they are good, well-grown, strong-bodied, good muscled, good boned, with very good outlooks. It's early stages, obviously, and a little too hard to tell the style of mare that he really does desire because we haven't seen enough. But a dozen foals gives us a lot of optimism going forward into the breeding season, and I'm sure more mares will come given the outlook of the foals that you're seeing on this video today. Once again, I'd like to thank you very much for tuning into our virtual parade. A little bit later than normal, being the end of September, but with level 4 and level 3 lockdowns here in Auckland, it was a lot more difficult to come together. It was nice to get a few Ribchester foals, see the Belardo yearlings that are growing out, and I go forward and wish every breeder all the very best for their racing and breeding endeavours this year, and hopefully once we get out of lockdown, I look forward to having a drink with you all and enjoying the great thoroughbred industry we are a part of. Thank you.